24's Leela Jacinto is with us now, and she's going to help us make sense of what's happening and what's going on and what's going to happen next.
Well, I mean, we've been waiting for this moment, especially Gazans and the loved ones of the hostages, Israeli hostages held in Gaza. What's going to happen now is something that we are familiar with because there was a ceasefire in November 2023. So we sort of know how this process works. What basically happens with the Israeli hostages that have to be released. Now, today we have 3 female hostages, young women, civilians to be released. What will happen is that Hamas will hand over the 3 hostages to the Red Cross, who will hand them over to a special Israeli army unit, this is the IDF, inside Gaza. From inside the Gaza Strip, they will be taken to a special army facility near the border. There are 3 special facilities near the 3 border crossings. So depending on which border crossings they come from, they will go to this army unit where they will have initial medical checkups. And after that, they get transferred to hospitals where they are reunited with their families and loved ones. On the side of the Palestinian detainees, we have 90 that are going to be released today. What happens there is that the Israeli prison services transfer all the detainees from various locations to the Ofer prison, which is why you have cameras set up at this Ofer prison. And at Ofer prison, right now, you have the cameras and all the trucks waiting. What happens is at Ofer, there they have medical checks and identity checks. And they wait there until there is a confirmation that the Israeli hostages have got into Red Cross hands, so that they are not in Hamas hands anymore. Once they get the confirmation from the Red Cross that all 3 hostages, in this case, are with the Red Cross, then they start releasing the Palestinian detainees. And we have some details now about the Palestinian detainees because there were 90 of them. So, we've got some details of how many women. They are mostly women. 62 out of the 90 are Palestinian women. They include 1 minor. And there are 28 men, which includes 8 minors. And they're not all going to the same place. Basically, 76 of them will be going back to their homes in West Bank, and 12 have to go to East Jerusalem. So we're all waiting for this process to unfold, and hopefully it will unfold without any hitch because, there's a lot of trauma on both sides waiting for this to happen.
And Leela, yes, we're still waiting, and the images we've been waiting for could have happened a bit earlier, if not for that 3-hour delay. Is it a sign for things to come?
Oh, this could have happened in May. Yes, there have been so many delays. But you're talking about the last-minute delay that happened because basically the ceasefire was supposed to go into effect at 8:30 a.m. local time. It didn't start. It didn't start because Israel said that it had not received the list of hostages that Hamas was going to release. Now, what's important here, in the end, they did get the list, and, the ceasefire went into effect. But what we should pay attention to what happened here was that basically the delay in releasing the names. Under the terms of the deal, both parties have to release the names of the hostages and the detainees 24 hours before. Now, Hamas said that they did not have that information. What's happened inside Gaza, of course, is that Hamas's abilities have been severely crippled under this 15 months war. Hamas does not use cell phones anymore. They don't use devices. They've learned the lessons, they're under heavy Israeli surveillance. They learned the lessons of what happened in neighboring Lebanon with the beeper attacks. So all the communication has to happen in person. This takes a long time. We're not even sure that Hamas has all the hostages. When the hostages came in after the October 7th attack, they were not held in one place. It is believed that other groups, including the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, have some hostages. Hamas says it's not absolutely aware of the state of all the hostages. Some of the hostages, their remains have to be transferred. So, in the 6 weeks to come, because every week we're going to have these transfers, expect these hinges, which are going to be really nail-biting before this whole process unveils.
So when we talk about technical errors, we're talking about a break in communication. So we are witnessing right now phase one of that peace deal. What's coming next?
Very important. We were just talking about phase one. The ceasefire deal that was negotiated in Qatar with the help of the US and Egyptian mediators is a three-phase deal. I had a really brief breakup. So phase one lasts 6 weeks, 42 days, and it includes a cessation of hostilities, 600 trucks entering the Gaza Strip per day, the hostage prisoner exchanges, of course. And this is important. On day 16, that's just a little after 2 weeks, you start the negotiations for phase two. That's where the real challenge starts, because there's not much detail actually on phase two and phase three of the deal. Phase two talks about the end of the Gaza war, the release of all hostages from Gaza, and the withdrawal of Israeli forces from the Gaza Strip. And phase three, of course, is the reconstruction of Gaza, which is going to take immense amount of years. What we are seeing, actually, the real problem is the movement from phase one to phase two. And there are all sorts of indications that a lot of senior Israeli politicians are indicating that there seems to be very little will to move into phase two. Last night, Saturday night, the night before the ceasefire was supposed to go into effect, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had a videotaped statement where he basically told the Israeli people that he had received assurances from the incoming US President Donald Trump that if we don't move into phase two, if there were some problems in phase one, then Israel could resume the war in Gaza. So that, it's at the 6-week mark that all the devil of the details are going to come forth.